simple cupcake design in Nomad Sculpt, I'm going to delete the initial sphere and use a scene to add in the cylinder. And I'm going to use a gizmo tool to decrease the size on this axis. We're just looking to form the base of the cupcake liner. I'm going to use the clone tool to clone this cylinder, and again use the gizmo tool to scale it up. This is going to be the outside surface of our cupcake liner. Again, I'm just roughly scaling this to the height I imagine a cupcake liner to be. You can modify it afterwards if you're not happy. I'm going to use the division on the menu before I validate. Change to 3, which will give you a triangle, and you'll understand why in a second. I'm going to move that triangle out to the edge, the top edge, and again I'm going to scale it using the gizmo. Just get it in position, scale it down to what I think would suit a cupcake liner. Again, there's no real rhyme or reason or right way to do this. I'm just imagining a cupcake liner, I'm positioning it, I'm scaling it. Once I'm happy with the position, we'll move on to the next step. So there we go. I'm going to slightly angle it out again using the gizmo tool. Cupcake liners tend to be flared, tapered from the bottom to the top. So I'll just angle it out until I'm happy with the angle. Then I'm going to go to the scene menu and I'm going to add in a radial repeater, and this is going to add 4 of those primitives around, and if I use the radius on Y I can increase the amount. I'm going to just again use 36, no rhyme or reason. You choose what you think looks best for your particular design. I think 36 looks rather reasonable for a cupcake liner. Happy with it. From the scene menu, I'm going to join the radial and the cupcake case outer. I'm going to join children because I'm not going to make any more adjustments to this liner from this stage. Then I'm going to join the bottom cylinder and the outside liner. Then I'm going to use the trim tool to just trim the bottom so we've got a nice clean bottom section, and now we've got one coherent cupcake liner. Now I'm going to bring in another cylinder from the scene menu. This is going to be our cake base. And I'm just going to use the gizmo to scale it. I'm going to use the radius function within the gizmo to just flare it out to match that same taper as the cupcake liner. And just sit it in a position again. There's no math to this, just do what you think looks good. We're going to place a sphere on top of this to create the sort of muffin top. From the scene menu, I'm going to add in a sphere. I'm going to bring this up to the top of the cake base, at the top of the cake liner. I'm going to use the gizmo tool to sort of squash it down, just move it around until I get a feel, and I'm going to actually set this down in to the cake liner and cake base, just until it looks like what I think a cake should look like. I've eaten plenty of cake, so I should know what they look like. Now I'm happy with the cake position. We're going to focus on the icing, and from the scene menu I'm going to add in a tube. I'm going to bring this tube up to the top of the cupcake, and on the primitive menu across the top before we validate, we're going to hit the 3 dots on the right hand side and hit the spiral function, then use twist angle to create a spiral sort of piped icing. And I'm going to scale it down. I've twisted it a couple of times, but you can twist it to your preference. Again, I'm just using the gizmo tool to sort of make everything to scale, make it look coherent. Once I'm happy with the position, the size, I'm going to validate it. Then I'm going to use the move tool. And as I move this, I've got the symmetry turned on, but I'm going to switch off symmetry because I only want to move particular portions. So I'm just gently moving the move tool. I want to accentuate that peak as if I've actually piped this icing. I'm going to continue to use the move tool on the peak of this icing, just moving it gently, getting it to a position where I think it looks good, where it looks like it's been piped. And I'm going to go into the multi-res menu and I'm going to subdivide it just to make it a little bit more smoother. Just increase the vertices ever so slightly. And then I'm just going to use a smooth tool just to smooth it over a little bit. Again, we want this to look like piped icing. And I'm going to go back to the move tool and I'm going to work on those coils, and I want this to taper. I want it to be thinner at the top and fatter towards the bottom, towards the cake. So I'm just going to work on each individual twist or spiral in that tube. And again, there's no math to this, you're just trying to make it look a bit more natural. As when you pipe icing on top of the cake, you're naturally going to get a flare out at the bottom as the icing touches the cake. And I'm just going to bring that tail up into the coil. Again, just make it look a little bit neater. Again, you can play around a bit more with this, take a little bit more time, make it look more natural. I'm just bringing that second coil down just to cover that tail a little bit. Again, just trying to make this look a little bit more natural, make it look like it's piped icing. Just going to bring that top portion in a little bit more. And at this stage, we're pretty much done for the basic cupcake. And from here, you can add colour, you can use the paint menu, select the cupcake base, use the paint all function on all the objects. I can't really recall what cupcake liners colours are, but I think they're generally like pastel-y colours, so I just went with a light blue, a pink for the icing, and I tried to match a cakey colour, sort of a light goldeny brown, and just use paint all, and that's pretty much it. Now in yours, you could add some more detail, you could add some texture to the cake, you could maybe add some hundreds and thousands to the icing, but we'll leave it at that. We'll maybe do a more advanced cake in the next tutorial. If you want to see more tutorials like this, please subscribe, drop me a like and say hello in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.